Have you ever come across a YouTube video where they will be sharing the strategy and also the backtested results of that strategy in any format, CSV, PDF, XLS, whatever it is? Most of the times, you only get the strategy and not the backtested results. In the best case scenario, person A might give the strategy and person B, who is a backtester, would backtest the strategy and upload the results in YouTube. That is how it is as of now. Now, there are plenty of money making strategies that are available in the YouTube. Now, and let me make a bold claim, all freely available strategies in the YouTube are not working. I know this is a tall claim, but I'm sure I can prove this with any strategy that is right now in the YouTube. Do you think a freely money making strategy would be just floating in the YouTube? I mean, at absolutely no cost whatsoever? Is this how the world works? Do you think you can just become a millionaire or a crorepati just by using them? And even though a strategy might be working at some point of time, let us say 2 years back, there is a very high probability that strategy would not be working today, because strategies are just like medicines, they have an expiry period. And do you think a good Samaritan will just come on YouTube and say, hey, I have a money making strategy and I'll give it to you free of cost? Absolutely not. So, whenever a strategy is given, one needs to understand what are the main elements of that backtesting strategy. Now, I have classified the elements of backtesting into 8 different elements. So, here are the structure of the strategy, instrument and time frame, scalability, signal generation, entry rules, maximum number of trades, scale switch, analysis of the results. Now, let's just take one thing at a time very slowly. Now, let's begin with the structure of the strategy. So, the structure of strategy is, now a strategy can be a long strategy, a strategy can be a short strategy. And since when I have recorded the video, it is of 26th of September 28th of September 2024. So, now the ICICI Bank and the HDFC Bank are very strong. So, long strategies may be working in the favor of the one who takes the trade. So, now since the trend is since it is an uptrend, the long strategy would be more favorable. So, we have to understand it. This is a trend continuation strategy, and when the market is going up or the HDFC Bank is going up in this case, if you want to short this strategy, then that would be a trend reversal strategy. So, we need to address, is this a trend continuation strategy or a trend reversal strategy? And is this a high risk to reward strategy or high accurate system, in the sense that HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank are too big of instruments where you cannot really expect a huge RR, especially not in the intraday. And then fixed deployment capital or variable. For example, you have brought 1 lakh rupees into market today and you made a profit of 5,000. So, tomorrow, are you going to trade with 1 lakh or 1 lakh 5,000? If you deploy even the profits of yesterday to today's capital, making it 1 lakh 5,000, that is called a variable capital deployment strategy. And are you using the leverage? Now, you know, in intraday, all major brokerage firms give you a 5x leverage. So, if you have a fund of 1 lakh, you can practically trade with 5 lakh. So, does your strategy include that also? So, these are the basic structure of the strategy. Now that we have covered the structure of strategy, let us just take an example. So, the strategy, the hypothetical strategy that I have designed is a long strategy with low risk to reward ratio and variable capital deployment, and I am also going to use the leverage for ICICI and Bajaj Finance, and my time frame is 15 minutes. Now, we have come to point number 2. Why? So, any strategy that you take would not work across all the instruments. Usually, they might be working for 5 to 10 instruments at any given point of time, and even though they work for 5 to 10 instruments, they do not work the same way in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. So, Every strategy is instrument specific and time period specific. And then, since we have finished instruments and time, the second pillar of the backtesting, now let's just come to scalability. Now, you cannot deploy a huge capital on a small micro cap stock. Why? Because let us say you are trading in 15 minutes of time. In 15 minutes of time, the liquidity would be so less, by which I mean, let us say in 15 minutes you have 6,800 shares. Okay, I'm just referring to this example of Action Construction Equipment stock. Now you can see here the signal is generated on 26th of September at 10 o'clock and the entry is close of the candle. But if you see, the volume of that candle is 6,830. And if you have a fund of 1 crore rupees, your purchasing power is 7,140. So you can buy 7,140 shares, but the entire volume in a single candle is only 6,800. So if you buy the entire volume in one single candle, you are the one who is going to drive the price. Okay, so you cannot trade any instrument with all the capital you have, because there is a problem with the liquidity. So when you have a higher capital, you might want to restrict yourself to large cap companies. Then let's just review what have we covered so far. So we have the following characteristics. We are going to, and please just mind, this is a hypothetical strategy. Okay, this is not a real strategy or backtested strategy. So now we are going to follow a trend continuation strategy, and it is a long strategy with less risk to reward, and we are going to use the leverage and variable capital deployment, and we are going to deploy the hypothetical strategy on two instruments in ICICI Bank and Bajaj Finance in 15 minutes time frame. And there are no scalability issues because both the instruments are large cap and the liquidity is usually very strong, that you need not really worry about purchasing all the shares in a single candle. Now we have covered the first three pillars of the backtesting, and now comes the fourth, signal generation. So the signal generation is a part of the strategy where a certain criteria is met by the candle and then the signal is generated. For example, hypothetical case again. Now let us say the signal is generated every time the following four criteria is met. The close minus low is greater than 0.7% of low, which means there is a buying strength of more than 70% of the whole candle, and close minus low is greater than 0.5% of high minus low, volume should be more than 20,000, and market capitalization is greater than 1 lakh, which means basically a large cap stock. Now these are the four criteria that I want to be called as a signal generation criteria. Now whenever all the four conditions are met, the signal criteria is generated, and let's just say the signal generation criteria is PDH rejection. The candle should have the four characteristics at previous day high level. And now let us come back to the fifth element, entry and exit rules. Now entry and exit rules are the most important. For example, in the previous case, when we have given a four criteria that needs to be met for signal generation, are you going to enter on the fly or are you going to wait till the close of the candle? Okay, and once you enter at the close of the candle, let us say the exit is high of the candle. So entry minus exit, that is the stop loss. Let us define that as R, and then the trailing stop loss. Now trailing stop loss in this case is cost to cost. Let us say you have entered a price and the price has moved in your favor, in your direction by 1 hour. Once it hits 1 hour, we are going to trail ourselves from minus R to 0, which means you're not going to take any loss once the price moves in your favor by 1 hour. Now the target is 2 hour. Since your stop loss is R, your target should be at least a minimum of 2R. And then end of the time. You see, you cannot trade at 3:15. Let us say signal is generated at 3:15. You know you cannot take any intraday trades at 3:15, right? So there has to be a time, and some of the traders would like to trade only at 9:15, and some of the traders would not like to trade anywhere between 9:15 and 9:45 because the volatility is high. So you also need to select a time range of your strategy. Now we have covered 5 pillars of the backtesting. Now let's just come back to the sixth one, and the maximum number of trades. Now this is more or less related to the psychological part of the backtesting rather than the logical part, because you need to have a maximum number of trades that you can trade per day. Now why? Because when you are trading in intraday, it just becomes an addiction to trade multiple number of times, and once you do that multiple number of times, there is always a chance that it just becomes an addiction, and that is equivalent to gambling. So you always need to curtail the number of trades per day or per week, per month, and this is a very major criteria. Now let us just review how far have we come. So these are the characteristics of our hypothetical strategy. Now one, we are going to choose a trend continuation strategy. It is a long strategy which has less risk to reward and variable capital deployment. We chose the instruments as ICICI Bank and Bajaj Finance in 15 minutes time frame. Both of them have no scalability issues, and the signal is PDH rejection, and we have a bunch of entry and exit criteria as we have discussed previously. Also, just to curtail our intention to never to get addicted, we are also restricting the maximum number of trades per day, per week and per month. So we have covered 6. Now comes the kill switch criteria. Now according to me, the kill switch to stop the trading strategy is the most important. As I said, every trading strategy is like a medicine, they have an expiry period. So now you need to realize when this strategy is working or when not this strategy is working. You just cannot keep on trading the strategy forever without having a proper mechanism to stop it. Now in my case, any backtesting strategy that I take is backtested thoroughly, and then I have a kill switch criteria. I mean, let us say you brought a capital of 1 lakh rupees to the market. Now let us say you are taking in SLs continuously and profits here and there, and eventually your trading capital has become 75,000, which means you have 25% of your capital got eroded. Are you still willing to trade even after losing 25% of the capital? I think it is common sense to understand that the trading strategy has stopped working. And now let us say in the backtesting strategy you have 5 SLs or 6 SLs or 7 SLs in a losing streak, which means continuously there are a certain number of stop losses that are getting hit back to back. Now what if that number got breached? In the past 1 year, let us say the maximum SLs back to back that you have seen are 6, and now there are 7 SLs back to back. What are you going to do? Are you still going to trade? No, you should stop the trading strategy and revisit it once again. This is the most and crucial. And now since we have covered this also, let's just come to the last leg of the pillars of backtesting, which is the analysis of the results. Now you need to do a SWOT analysis for the strategy that you have backtested. Okay, now you just will write everything about it. I mean, what are the number of trades that a strategy has given me in a year, and what are the number of stop losses that were hit, what were the total number of trailing SLs that were hit, how many targets were hit, and how many days did I take money from the market, and how many days did I give money to the market, and what is the maximum drawdown. I just will give you a small example of maximum drawdown. Let us say you brought a capital of 1 lakh. Today it was, as tomorrow it is 1,03,000, day after tomorrow it is 1,05,000, and after 15 days your capital reached a maximum point of 1,15,000 and came back to 1,01,000. Okay, and again it went up, again it went down, so and so. So in this example, the capital went from 1,15,000 to 1,01,000, and that is a drawdown of 13-14% from the recent high, isn't it? I mean, you reached 1,15,000 and now you're back to 1,01,000. So you practically gave away every profit that you gave. That is the maximum run. What percentage are you going to set? And what is the return on investment post brokerages? You should calculate brokerages best, because brokerages are the real cost that will kill any trading strategy. And what is the accuracy of the system? In the sense, now let us say you took 100 trades and you made money in 60% of the trades. So the accuracy is 60, right? I mean, it might be that all the 60 trades might not give you a target, but definitely you're going to end in a green. And is there a way you can optimize the backtest? I mean, person A can give you a strategy in YouTube which would not be working fundamentally, but you can always choose an instrument, choose a time frame, choose an entry and exit criteria, and make any number of adjustments to improvise and optimize the backtesting strategy. All these things have to be tested. So now these are the characteristics of the hypothetical strategy that we have been discussing for the past 15 minutes. And once all these criteria is met, that's it. You have done a very good job of backtesting your data. Now, as you have paid us with your time, as a thank you gift, we are attaching a CSV file to this video